Betsy Swain returns home from hospital in next week's Coronation Street as she continues her recovery following her stroke. Although Lisa and Carla Connor Swain are delighted to welcome her back, they face the challenge of helping Betsy stay positive while she adjusts to an uncertain future, all while dealing with growing strain in their own marriage. According to a Corrie insider, the stroke has completely transformed Betsy's life and has deeply affected everyone around her. While being discharged from hospital is an important step forward, the real challenge begins now as she comes to terms with the lasting impact of her condition. A difficult and lengthy recovery lies ahead. As everyday activities become more challenging, Betsy grows increasingly anxious about the long-term consequences of her stroke. During a visit to the hospital, Roy Cropper helps her improve the speech and communication difficulties caused by her illness. Encouraged by her progress, Carla tells Betsy that the doctors believe she is well enough to continue her recovery at home. Rather than feeling relieved, Betsy admits she is frightened about leaving the safety of the hospital. The thought of recovering without doctors and nurses close by leaves her feeling vulnerable. Elsewhere, Lisa becomes uncomfortable when Carla pays Sarah Platt a visit in prison. As the detective responsible for Sarah's conviction, Lisa worries that her wife's support for a convicted murderer could create both personal conflict and professional complications. The long-awaited day finally arrives for Betsy to return to Weatherfield, but she is overwhelmed with nerves. Although her doctors remain optimistic that she will recover, they warn that the process will take considerable time and require extensive rehabilitation and physiotherapy. Medical staff also caution that there remains a possibility of further strokes after Betsy has already suffered 2 within a short period, adding to everyone's concerns. Once home, Lisa carefully helps her daughter inside and reveals that a bed has been prepared downstairs in the living room, allowing Betsy to avoid climbing the stairs while she regains her strength. Betsy appreciates the thoughtful effort, but the arrangement also reminds her that her physical abilities may never fully return. Despite the encouragement offered by Lisa, Carla, Ryan, and Roy, she remains quiet and reflective before making an unexpected decision. Our insider reveals that Lisa is stunned when Betsy announces she no longer intends to move to London. With so much uncertainty surrounding her health, Betsy decides it isn't the right time to begin her fashion college course. She doesn't believe she is physically or emotionally ready, leaving both Lisa and Carla devastated to see her lose confidence in her future. Will Betsy simply delay her studies until she feels stronger, or has she abandoned her dream of living in London for good? What lies ahead for her troubled romance with Dylan Wilson, who continues to hold himself responsible for everything that happened, and can Swarla overcome yet another emotional crisis within their family? As the truth about Betsy Swain's stroke and what caused it begins to spread around Weatherfield, several Coronation Street residents are finding themselves discussing the serious dangers highlighted by her ordeal. Betsy's medical emergency occurred after she and her boyfriend, Dylan Wilson, engaged in consensual strangulation during sex. The pressure applied to her neck damaged an artery, triggering a stroke that left her fighting for recovery. Ryan Connor discovered Betsy unconscious after she collapsed at home and immediately rushed her to hospital, where doctors soon uncovered the devastating cause of her condition. While Betsy's mother, Lisa Connor Swain, places full responsibility on Dylan and reports him to the police, Dylan refuses to accept that his actions could have caused such severe consequences. Instead, he lashes out by accusing Betsy of being unfaithful with Brody Michaelis. In the previous episode, the subject of strangulation was discussed in the salon when Maria Connor admitted to Summer Spellman that she had never realized it could result in a stroke. Maria remarked that it was frightening how only a small amount of pressure in the wrong place could have such devastating consequences. Summer agreed, pointing out that most people would have no way of knowing what amount of pressure is safe unless they were medical professionals. When Maria assumed Summer had never experimented with consensual strangulation, Summer quickly corrected her. Frustrated by the assumption, she joked that everyone treated her like she was completely innocent before admitting she had tried it herself, adding that she would never do it again. Summer then asked whether Maria had spoken to her son Liam and stepson Jake about the risks involved, suggesting it was important for parents to educate their children on the dangers of consensual strangulation. Clearly uncomfortable, Maria admitted she and Gary wanted to have the conversation, but had been struggling to bring it up. Summer encouraged her not to avoid the discussion, explaining that although it might feel awkward, it would be far better coming from a parent than from someone else. Maria worried that raising the subject might sound like they were gossiping about a teenage girl's private life, but Summer reminded her that the victim could just as easily have been Liam, leaving Maria with plenty to think about. The storyline was created to raise awareness of the little-known dangers linked to consensual strangulation during sex, emphasizing that serious injuries can occur regardless of whether only a small or significant amount of pressure is applied. To ensure the story was portrayed accurately and responsibly, Coronation Street worked closely with the Institute for Addressing Strangulation IFAS, the Stroke Association, and Safeline throughout the development of the storyline. Producer Kate Brooks explained that extensive consultation with IFAS, the Stroke Association, and Safeline helped the team portray Betsy's experience with sensitivity while encouraging an important conversation about the potentially life-threatening risks associated with consensual strangulation. Speaking exclusively to Metro, Sydney Martin revealed she was shocked by the research she learned while preparing for the storyline. She said she discovered it takes less pressure to cause brain damage than it does to open a can of fizzy drink. She also referred to research involving 30 women, explaining that blood tests reportedly showed signs of brain injury among the participants who had engaged in consensual strangulation, something she found deeply alarming. Sydney added that the statistics surrounding the practice among younger people surprised her even more. She recalled seeing figures suggesting that around 55% of people aged between 16 and 34 had tried it, describing the number as remarkably high. She explained that the storyline reflects the reality faced by many teenagers, where there can be pressure to avoid appearing boring or inexperienced in relationships. Sydney also pointed out that from both Betsy and Dylan's perspective, neither believed they were doing anything dangerous. Instead, they simply saw themselves as a young couple experimenting with something they believed was normal, making the devastating consequences even more heartbreaking. The big question now is whether Ben will support Ollie's decision to pursue his ambitions or resent him for switching sides so quickly. Another insider points out that Ollie deserves the opportunity to focus on his own future after spending so much time supporting his family through the difficult situations involving Will and Megan. Throughout those struggles, he often acted as the calm voice of reason while emotions ran high. Now that Will is in a much better place, Ollie finally has the chance to prioritize himself, build his confidence, and take the next step in developing his career as a chef. Coronation Street continues on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and is available to stream on ITVX.